Let's begin, everybody, just standing up on our mat in mountain pose as we forward fold, just hanging out there, exhaling out the mouth, inhaling, lengthening the spine, exhale, forward fold as we walk back into a downward facing dog here, just a gentle one. Pedal out the feet, do your down dog dance as we call it. Feel how your body is reacting to getting into this posture. Listen to it. Notice if anything is aching or hurting, what's feeling good. And begin to breathe, inhaling and exhaling in through the nose and gently out the mouth to start. As we lean forward, coming into a plank pose, really engaging the abs here as we go all the way down onto the mat. Inhaling up with your thighs and hips just pressed against the ground for a gentle upward bend. Feeling out the body, continuing that just easy breath as we press back onto all fours. Coming into our cat-cows, arching the spine up, head down, and then inhaling, dipping the spine, head up. Going through a few of those on your own time. What feels good to you? You can sway the hips in circles if that feels appropriate. I love that soothing feeling of going through the cat-cows as I turn with my hips. Now we're going to crawl up to the front of the mat, just pressing the knees up into downward facing dog. Getting that down dog, straightening the arms, pushing the ground as we bring both feet up. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, forward fold. And all the way up, stretching up to the sky, down into prayer pose. Taking an inhale, arms back up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, plant the hands back down as we step back into a plank pose this time, holding it for a bit longer, starting to build some abdominal heat and strength, warming up the body, strengthening the core. Just focusing here on your breath, maybe starting your Ujjayi breathing, inhaling and exhaling in and out the nose. As we go down to Chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog. Here my thighs are off the ground, and exhale, forward fold. Go back to downward facing dog. We're going to lift that right foot up into the air, bending at the knee, opening up the hips, circling the ankle. Should feel really good as we step that foot, or hover it over to the elbow, inhaling it back up. Exhale down into the forehead, back up, and then over to the left elbow, again building strength here, back up, and finally pressing it in between the hands, and inhaling up into a crescent pose. I'm on the ball of my back foot here, and then my front right foot is the leg is trying to bend to about 90 degrees. You can't be on railroad tracks in this position. Your feet, one to one side of the mat, one to the other for balance. We're going to transition here into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2, as we go into our extended side angle, just holding for a couple breaths here. We're just warming up the body. We'll come back to these and hold for a bit longer as we rise back up, Warrior 2, and then bend it over to a reverse warrior. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the lower back as we bend and fold forward for a humble warrior. Just let your head fall here. You don't need to hold it up. Just completely let that upper spine and head drop as we try to get those hands as close to the floor as possible. Just letting everything go. Inhaling slowly back up into a Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1 here. Back foot is planted, except it is bent at like a, 11 o'clock angle of the clock. You're going to press that foot back into your plank pose as we hold again, building up that strength in between our flexibility postures. Just focusing on that Ujjayi breathing. And forward into Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, stretch that back. And exhale. Here we go. Time for push-ups. This is optional. You can press back into downward facing dog here and just hold and wait, or I decide to bust out 10 push-ups. And we're back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana, where we are going to do the other side, lifting that left foot up into the air, bending the knee, opening up the hip. Should feel delicious in those groins. And bringing it over to the left elbow, inhaling back up, exhale to the forehead, hold, inhale back up, and now crossing over the body, inhaling back up, and finally stepping it in between the hands, where we're going to rise up on an inhale for our Crescent Pose. Remember, having the feet staggered to opposite sides of the mat for balance. And then from here, transition to Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana Dose. Take an inhale. And exhale, extended side angle. Just trying to twist that chest open up to the sky. This is a twisting posture. And then we'll inhale back up, Warrior 2. Exhale, reverse the warrior. Inhale back up. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind the lower spine, opening up the chest, leading with the heart as we fold forward. Just letting those shoulders open up. Head is just relaxed and dropped. And the beautiful thing about yoga postures is with postures like this, it's actually the less you do, the less tension, the better off the posture will be. It's about letting go, not about doing more all the time. Now we're going to inhale back up for that Virabhadrasana 1. Hips are parallel and square to the front of the mat. Exhale, drop the hands back down, step the foot back, and optional is to, well, we're going to hold here. Going to hold for plank, getting in that core strengthening. Trying to stay focused here, not clenching the face. Just trying to keep things relaxed. And now we go into our push-ups. As many as you want. I do 10. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pedaling out the feet, seeing how your body feels here. We've already gone through a lot. Stepping both feet forward, we're going to inhale, exhale, Utkatasana. Inhale all the way back up, Uttanasana actually. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, stepping those feet back into our plank pose. Holding here. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Trying to straighten out those arms, pushing out of the elbow sockets. We're going to lift that right foot up into the air as we step it forward in between the hands, pivoting the back foot and just cartwheeling the hands up into a Warrior 2 right away. Positioning the feet so that the front heel is in line with the back arch of the foot. Looking back at that back hand to make sure it's not slumping down. And we're going to transition to put that elbow onto the knee for Parsvakonasana. If you'd like, if you're feeling open and flexible, you can bring that hand all the way down to the inside of the foot on the mat if you'd like. Or if you have a yoga block, That's a great use for it, to just prop yourself up a little bit. And you'll see my hand is not straight up, it's actually over the ear, forming one horizontal line from the tips of my fingers all the way down to that back foot, if you can see my body making a line. We're going to inhale back up, reverse the warrior, side stretch. And inhaling back up, we're going to straighten out that front leg, leaning forward as much as you can, keeping both legs straight and coming down for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Here the arm is straight up ahead. Trying to find somewhere to fix your gaze so that you can just focus on the breath here. The point of these yoga postures is to get into the posture, just hold it, and then focus on your breathing and your focus. We're going to inhale back up, reverse the warrior. Now we're going to bring the feet parallel to each other, interlacing the fingers and doing a back bend here. You don't need to be too aggressive if your back isn't very open. If you're very open, you can pop into a wheel, but that won't be for most of us. I can't do that. Then counter it with a forward fold, interlacing the fingers. This should feel very good. Relaxing, letting the head go, a break. You can grab the outsides of the feet just to push your head a little bit in towards the mat. And this is optional, starting right here. If you'd like, if you are not comfortable with doing headstands, this is something that you should get instructed through a YouTube video or in a class. If you're not used to headstands in the middle of the room, just stay in that forward fold stretching. But if you'd like I am right now, you can come into a headstand. Really pressing through those forearms so that not all the weight is on your spine and your head, although because we align ourselves just perfectly up, it shouldn't be too hard on the spine. Remembering to breathe if you are in headstand. And I'm going to slowly, with control, try to come down. There we go. Just taking your time to get back up, straightening out the arms, or else you'll get that yogi head rush. And we're going to go straight to the other side here. So now bringing that left foot to the front, coming into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana Dos. Coming back to your breath after that headstand. Going to take an inhale and exhale. Parsva Konasana, extended side angle. Again, you can see just opening up that chest to the sky and trying to make one line from the tops of your fingers all the way down through your torso, your legs, and to your foot. And then coming into the breath and holding the posture. As we inhale back up to reverse, straightening out that left leg, bending or leaning forward for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Arm up straight, everything straight, both arms, the torso, both legs. And breathing, again opening up the chest to the sky, feeling that twisting sensation. We're going to come back up, reverse the warrior. Parallel the feet, another back bend. Inhaling back up, forward fold. Shaking the head yes and no, should feel great on those upper spinal region, vertebrae. Then we're just going to crawl our hands back to our right foot, step the foot back into a plank pose, breathing, chaturanga, inhale upward facing dog, and exhale Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Should feel like a great break after all that we've done. Slowly stepping the feet up, and here's where we come into another inversion. Now I'm going to be doing handstand here, You'll watch, I try to kick up once, don't find the balance, then try again, and I believe I hold it this time. Now, this is not a handstand tutorial video. Handstand's a very complex posture, and it should be something that you're either taught in a class or through extensive YouTube videos. I recommend, if you are semi-comfortable, you can bring your mat right now. You can pause the video and bring your mat over to a wall and practice handstand by kicking your feet up to the wall. If you're not comfortable doing it in the middle of the room, that's perfectly fine, or try to learn handstand at another time. If you'd like I am now after my handstand, you can also just take this moment to come into a child's pose for a few moments just to relax, cool down the body, let it go, and then we'll come back. Pressing up through the feet, lifting the knees for downward facing dog. Taking a few breaths here as we step the feet forward. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhaling all the way back up, arms up overhead, and prayer pose through the center. We're going to practice some standing postures now. This is definitely good stuff for runners and cyclists. We're going to be stretching out the quads and the hips and the hamstrings all at the same time with this magical posture. So we're going to bend that right foot and grab it, just doing a quad stretch here, trying to stay nice and strong in that left foot, which is on the ground. And we're going to grab the inside of the foot so that the thumb is up facing towards the toes, if that makes sense. It's not a big deal though. And we're going to kick that foot into our hand behind us as it lifts up, straightening out the left hand, coming in to this beautiful, beautiful pose. Dancer's pose. And I'm going to bring my hand all the way down just to accentuate that stretch because it feels good. And I'm going to bring it into an Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Look at that. Just by letting go of that foot and raising the hand up, you are in half moon pose. Staying very straight with that back, with that standing leg. Now I'm going to come up slowly, not pressing the foot down into the ground yet, as I grab with my peace fingers my toe, straightening it out with the hamstring. Sometimes it's easier to bring it out to the side. Feels very good on your hamstring and groin. Now I'm going to cross it over, twisting with my spine. And then lastly, bringing that foot up to the left thigh. And this is now a hip opener. It's an intense hip and glute opener. If this hurts your knee, just bring both feet down and we'll be back together in a moment. And then finally, shake it out. Definitely need some shake out after all of that on that left standing leg before we do it again on the right standing leg. We're going to lift that foot up, the left foot, grabbing it with both hands, just stretching out the quad here. Focusing on our breath. And then finally grabbing it with that left hand. Right hand goes up into the air. Kick that back foot back, making our torso almost parallel with the floor. Dancer's pose. As we bring the hand down, stretching out the groin into half moon, letting go of that foot. Just breathing here. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth as we lift back up, not stepping that foot down just yet. Grabbing the toes with your peace fingers, stretching out that leg. It probably won't go straight for most of us. Then opening up the hip as we cross that left foot, or left hand, stretching it over, then bringing that left foot to the right thigh. As we lean forward, hands into prayer pose, practice that hip opener and glute stretch if it's available for you. Inhaling back up and exhale, shake it out. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Forward fold, Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, stepping the feet back into a plank pose. Breathing here, inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out, coming back to our core, strengthening postures. And push-up time if you'd like. If you don't want to do this, it's totally optional. But if you are looking to build up some of that strength in the upper body, great opportunity to do so as we inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, and exhale, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha. We're going to lift that right foot up into the air as we step it in between the hands, and just lowering that left knee onto the mat, lifting up for a runner's lunge stretch. You can also bring the hands up into the air if that feels good. You should feel this in your left hip flexor, is what we're really stretching out right now, even more than the right hamstring. I like to bring my hands down after a while. The shoulders are tired after all the inversions. Trying to focus on your breath here. The stretching might be intense. Now we're going to bring the hands in towards the foot, letting the head just fall. Inhaling up, straightening out the right leg for Ardha Hanumanasana. If you'd like to get into a full splits pose here, if that's available for your body, you can do that. But for a lot of athletes and probably runners like yourself, our hamstrings are pretty tight. So here, just half with our left knee still on the ground and just stretching out that right leg. Bringing it back. Lifting up that left knee, stepping the foot back, just walking it out. Inhale. Oh, push-up time. Optional, of course. You can just press into downward facing dog if you'd like here. Inhaling the left leg up into the air as we step it forward, bringing the right knee down. Doing the same thing on the opposite side. And bringing it back to downward facing dog. Last round of push-ups, I believe. Just doing a few more here. Upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. As we transition into just sitting down with the legs out forward. Coming into Paschimottanasana, hands up in the air. You can also prop your butt up with a blanket or a block. Makes it more accessible if you're not as flexible in your hamstrings. Just doing a forward fold here. I try to keep my spine lengthened and straight, and then after a while here you see me just totally going forward, letting my head go. After a while, that feels good. Gonna inhale back up, coming into Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Just grabbing the feet, letting everything go, opening it up, stretching it out. Still staying focused on the breath here. We're going to cross the right leg over the left thigh, bringing that left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Right hand is behind, and just stretching that out, reversing it for the other side. And now coming down onto our backs, almost for Shavasana, but not quite yet. Interlacing the fingers, crawling onto those shoulder blades, and just pressing the hips up for a back bend. If you'd like to get into a full wheel here, if that's available for you, you may. Rocking back and forth, doing some sacrum circles before our Shavasana. Opening up for a happy baby, or really any other posture that has not been available or offered yet. Just before we get into Shavasana, anything you need, maybe a shoulder stand, Halasana plow pose, this happy baby, whatever feels good. And now for our last before Shavasana, slowly lowering your legs down as slow as you can, bringing in that core strength until it reaches the ground. You allow your legs to open up, preparing for Shavasana. I'm using my prana mat as I showed you right there, and that just allows for increased muscle relaxing. So I'm gonna leave you guys here. Shavasana it needs no instruction other than relax, let your breath become normal, and try to just let go of everything. Let go of any thoughts that are looming in your head, let go of any muscle tension, let go of any intention. Your only intention should just to be yourself in this posture, in this present moment. And you can come out of it whenever you'd like. Thank you so much for practicing, and have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day.